Now, ahead of his presidential inauguration, the American president-elect Donald Trump is charting out some pretty ambitious plans to hit the ground running at the Oval Office. Starting from day one, Donald Trump is expected to sign at least about 100 different executive orders at the new White House. Now, Trump has told the Republican senators about his intentions at a private meeting on Capitol Hill. Now, the allies of the president-elect are preparing a stack of executive orders that Donald Trump will sign very quickly on a whole host of different issues. This could range from the US-Mexico border clampdown to energy development to federal scheduled workforce rules. School gender policies and vaccine mandates are amongst the key day one promises that he had made during his campaign. The senators say that finishing the US-Mexico border wall and also setting up immigration detention facilities are all a part of this day one mix. Now, many of the actions are expected to be launched on the inauguration day, that is on the 20th of January, when Donald Trump assumes charge. The executive orders are common on the first day of a new house, but what Donald Trump and his team are planning is an executive punch as he prepares to wield power in some pretty untested ways. He intends, according to reports in the American media, to bypass the legislative machinery of the Congress. While some could be significant, others could be more symbolic in nature in terms of the message that they intend to send about the new president's direction. The new administration is likely to roll back many of the Biden administration's executive orders, putting his own proposals in place. So as Trump gets ready, immigration crackdown, the U.S. outgoing President Joe Biden has extended time for 800,000 Venezuelans and Salvadorans who are living in the United States of America. Now, the Department of Homeland Security has issued a fresh order stating that about 600,000 Venezuelans and over 230,000 Salvadorans who are already living in the United States can legally remain for about 18 more months. The Biden administration has strongly backed the temporary protected status that he has broadly expanded to cover about 1 million people. Temporary protected status faces an uncertain future under Donald Trump. He's tried to sharply curtail its use during his first term as president. Now, the temporary protected status designation gives people legal authority to be in the country. However, it also does not provide them a long-term path to citizenship. About 1 million immigrants from 17 countries are protected by temporary protected status, and Venezuelans are one of the largest beneficiaries. Now, on the brighter side, the U.S. economy in December has added the most number of jobs since March. U.S. employers have also added a booming 256,000 jobs in December, shrugging off high labor costs, slowing sales, and also uncertainty about Trump's economic policies. The unemployment rate has fallen unexpectedly, capping a surprisingly strong year. How will Trump toughen his stance as he takes on a very difficult U.S. remains to be seen. All right, now to give us more perspective on this, we are joined by Dr. Christina Iona Dragomir, who's a political analyst and commentator who's joining us live from New York. Now, Dr. Dragomir, there is a lot that is being speculated about what Donald Trump intends to do on the very first day that he takes charge of the White House. In your assessment, what do you think he's going to be looking at?
Thank you very much for having me over today. This is an important day, of course, as we are looking at new presidency of Donald Trump, as people are calling it Donald Trump 2.0 or Donald Trump on steroids. What we are looking at is one of the features of the American presidency in the modern times, and that is the growth of the executive branch. If you recall, the American founding fathers actually looked at the executive branch as being the weakest one, the one that shouldn't be making any legislation, the one that is only executing the legislation that is made by Congress. But right now, we've seen over the years that this power has been increased by every single president in the United States. So in that way, the new president, the upcoming president, President Trump, is not different from anybody else. He is rather following the same path. What it is different is that he is coming with a very powerful team behind him. So we are looking at him as a person, but we really need to consider the fact that he has been preparing quite a great deal for this moment. he has been drafting those executive orders together with his team. He has a team in place. He has very prominent figures that are supporting him.
Right.
Moreover, what we also need to understand is that he has the Republican Congress. Yes, the majority in Congress is not very large, but the majority in Congress will also support a lot of the decision that he will be making in the next years. It will be really interesting to see how he is both a disruptor and a policymaker in Washington.
That's very interesting. You've set it up beautifully, but a lot of people would want to know what Donald Trump intends to do on the very first day that he takes charge. He's come on the back of some very strident rhetoric against immigrants. Do we expect any big ticket announcements that Donald Trump is likely to carry out on the first day that he takes charge with respect to the immigrants?
The first day is a very symbolic day for the American presidency. Therefore, he will need to make quite symbolic gestures. He will have to make grandiose gestures. And why would he have to do this? He won on a landslide. He has a lot of the American people behind him. Those American people, his supporters, are expecting this. There is on the Republican side of politics, there is a lot of enthusiasm about Donald Trump coming to power. He needs to deliver. He needs to deliver on immigration. He needs to make very drastic changes, which will be more or less symbolic. We will see how they will be implemented. We will see where the funding is coming for this. We will see how the logistics will play out. But in terms of the symbolism of this, definitely we should expect seeing the legislation that will attack the current trends of immigration within the United States. We will see a lot of action at the border, even if that will be for the cameras, even that it will be for exposing a number of people that have been in the United States for some time.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Dr. Dragomir, for joining us with that perspective there.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.